uh, we I I designed this. Well, I didn't really design the unit. I took it to coincide with LabVenture, and I kind of, knowing what we were going to be doing at the GMRI, I wanted it to focus more on our local watershed and habitats, because a lot of the kids, they couldn't connect as much with the ocean habitat that they could with, their backyards where they went deer hunting and where they, walked in the woods. And then we went from this to, the name is escaping me this morning. What was the other kit that I took? The climate connections, is that it?
Yeah, the climate change.
Yes. So we went from this to climate change. And it was, most of the study in the first 2 trimesters was about the human impact on the environment and the world. Thanks. I highly recommend the kits, by the way. They're awesome.
Okay. So are there any other questions? Okay, I think we're going to move on. Thank you, Amanda, for sharing how you've been extending LabVenture. And
Sure.
we're going to, it's always fun to hear. Even the second time around, it's still just as fun to hear how you've been
I
doing
did
it.
change up my slides a little bit.
I noticed that you did change up your slides and you did some things differently. Okay, so we're going to hear from Tanya then. So Tanya was another teacher who joined us last summer. And so she is going to share how she has been extending LabVenture. So Tanya, I'm going to switch it on over to you now, okay? So it should be all you when you're ready.
Okay. Okay, great. Pull this up here. Mine's a little bit different. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Kim, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I just thought. I lost a lot of information on my old computer, so I had to redo a keynote and try to, pull up what I could remember for my information. I teach 5th grade at Woodstock Elementary. So one of the things that I tried to tie in was the next generation science standards, because the state of Maine's adopted them, and I wanted to make sure that this was aligned with them. A lot of the stuff has not changed from what I taught previously, so you can see that it aligns with 3 to 4 of the standards for 5th grade, and there's a total of 9. That includes engineering piece, which makes it really nice when you are trying to create units for it. So the ecosystems, interactions, and energy and dynamics, earth and human activity, and the role of water and earth's surface processes were the 3 main ones that I focused on as I created this unit. A couple things that I just listed were Earth's water as an apple, ocean animal research report, ocean animal art project, which included a food web, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, and Atlantic salmon. So the Earth as an apple, I like to start the year off just giving my kids some background about how much water is on the Earth and how much is fresh water and out that we actually have access to that's usable, because I think that's always kind of an eye-opener for them and makes them appreciate the quality of water and what's around us and how much we rely on it. It's a pretty easy activity to do. There's several different ones that I've seen. That's the link below there from Nature Bridge that makes it easier, just step by step, and it kind of gives you an idea of what you do. It's a great way to incorporate math too, because you do a lot of, it's all fractions. The next one is the ocean animal research. I actually got this under the sea creatures here from teachers, paid teachers. if you guys are familiar with that, it was free. It's a step-by-step report of an ocean creature. I focus all of the animals from the Gulf of Maine. I give the kids a list to choose from. So we have that, and it's a nice way to get kids started back into the year for writing and doing a little bit of research for it. I collaborate with our art teacher, and we create whatever animal they chose to research. They get to create a puppet, like out of paper, stuffed puppet, and we hang them into our room and create an ocean scene from the room. And after we do that, we actually connect them. We talk about food webs and food chains, and I take yarn and we connect all of our animals together. This gives the kids a good visual about how everything in the Gulf of Maine is connected and relies on each other. And it's a great, just a, to front load some knowledge before we go to the Gulf of Maine Research Institute in October. And these are really easy to do, and a lot of the art teachers enjoy, some collaboration from the teachers. And there were some other things we had talked about, possibly doing some kind of scene on the bulletin board that we have outside the classroom with the animals that we researched also. Another thing that I do later on, this is after we go to the Gulf of Maine, is I get 200 Atlantic salmon eggs, which we raise in our classroom. I have a guest speaker who comes from the Androscoggin Water Alliance. His name is Neil Ward. He volunteers in the area. We do a lot with water quality and watershed, our local watershed. I do a Kool-Aid watershed activity, which is a little bit like Amanda's activity, but just basically some plastic and Kool-Aid, and it demonstrates our watershed in the area. And the Kool-Aid represents different pollution, and take some spray bottles, and when it rains, all the Kool-Aid falls into the water basin, which is our local water areas, Lake Christopher. A couple other things that we do with Atlantic salmon is it's important because for the watershed, they have to connect to the ocean because they're migrating fish. They go to the ocean and then they return. So we help design fish ladders with Neil and some other scientists in the area to make it easier for the fish to come back. Also, we've been involved in helping remove old dams that are no longer active, which prevent the Atlantic salmon from returning. This also really, because when Neil comes, our guest speaker comes, we talk a lot about cod, we talk a lot about other local fish and the numbers, how they've declined or increased or have affected other populations. The kids make great connections from the Gulf of Maine Research Institute because they always say, oh, remember we talked about that, or we learned about that there. So it's a nice follow-up, and it also the human activity for water quality and understanding, it's all connected eventually to the ocean. So what we do here does make a difference to the habitat of the Maine, because we are a little further inland towards the mountains, so sometimes there is a disconnect, like Amanda said, with the kids not being as familiar with the ocean habitat. Another thing I do, I didn't put on here, is I go to the 4-H University of Maine Camp Learning Center, which is right down the street from us, and I work a lot with them and do a lot of hands-on activities. We'll go spend a day there, and we focus on watershed activities or water quality and do some games and collect some data and research for that. I think that's it, if anybody has any questions.
So I'll give people a second to either type or unmute themselves to ask questions if they have any. Okay. I don't want to cut anyone off. There's a thank you from Kathleen and a couple people. Can you see your chat window, Tanya?
I can't see it now.
Okay. Did you see the comment from Marie about knowing Neil or your contact at the Water Alliance?
Okay, I see the chats now. Yeah, I can include his email and I can send it to you. He's a great person to be in contact with. Like I said, he volunteers and he's willing to travel around, and he has a great slideshow about mostly on the Androscoggin because that's what he did. But he has a whole history from the early 1900s, and also he's involved a lot with the Atlantic salmon, trying to rebuild the numbers.
Awesome. Yeah, if you maybe want to just do the same thing Amanda did and just shoot me an email and I'll make sure everyone else gets it.
Yep, I can definitely do that.
Okay, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, unless anyone else has any other questions, I think that is it. Thank you so much to both Tanya and Amanda for once again sharing. You guys did some really, really cool things, and it's great to hear them. And I'm glad that you were able to share all of that with our teachers that are here this time around. And hopefully for those of you who are new to GoToMeeting, that maybe isn't as scary as it might have seemed. So, but this is kind of similar to what you will be doing later on this year once you've gone through some of your pre-post stuff. So big thank you to Amanda and Tanya, and we'll let you guys go. And if there's any other questions that people have throughout the day, is it okay if I shoot either of you an email to answer those?
Yep, that would be.
Okay, sweet. Well, that sounds good. Yeah, so I guess that's it. Thank you for joining.